So I'm really excited about this afternoon because we're doing things a little bit differently. We're going to delve more into along the theme of setting the table with allies, adversaries, and strangers, and looking at really connecting with and reaching especially marginal groups and engaging people with dementia. So we've got the Ontario Dementia Advisory Group, who is going to be doing a presentation to all of you. At the end of their presentation, we'll divide it into groups. I'm going to let them do most of the introductions for themselves. I just want to say, though, that this group did form, I think it's just over a year ago. We've got Mary Beth Whiten up there on the screen. We've got Bill Highbine up there on the screen as well. And of course, at the front of the room, Phyllis and B. And so they are the members of this Ontario Dementia Advisory Group. We, as a collective, we here, the Alzheimer Society of Ontario, NAREP, wherever Lisa is. There she is, still in the same spot. And also Elaine Wearsma from Lakehead University. I don't know if she's still here. There she is in the back of the room. Have all had the privilege of partnering with these individuals in this group and trying to provide the support. So today, that's the same thing that we're doing. This is really their show, and we'll provide the support as necessary. So take it away, ladies.
Great intro. Thanks, Nancy. I want to take just a second on behalf of the Ontario Dementia Advisory Group and say thank you to the ASO for inviting ODAG to I'm guessing a very interesting conference today. And in particular, we want to say thank you to Nancy Rushford, because she has really stretched herself, I think, in order to understand people living with dementia and how this kind of thing can happen. And so I guess you could say she believes in us and our relationship. So thanks to that, Nancy. I think that's where we clap or something. There you go. As Nancy said, I'm Mary Beth Whiten, and I'm just going to guide us through a few slides, and then we're going to open up to hopefully a very lively discussion. And before we do that, however, I'm asking you to ponder this particular question. How do you currently engage people with dementia? You know, that's a rhetorical question, so I just want you to let that marinate, if you will, in your brain. So who are we? Well, as Nancy said, we were formed in the fall of 2014, and we simply are people living with dementia who live in Ontario. It doesn't get any more basic than that, I think. And it was about that time when the Ontario Dementia Strategy made their announcement that they were going to indeed have a dementia strategy plan. And it coincided with the time that ODAG members and our partners were starting to form and to ask each other, how is it that people with dementia can make a huge difference in the things that we're involved in? And so there was lots of discussion around types of projects that we might be involved in, what the group could look like. Was it a big group? Was it a support group? Was it a project group? Was it, all those kinds of different things that are so important to consider right at the very beginning of the group. And it was really the people with dementia that decided that we wanted our purpose to influence policies, practices, and people. So at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure that as the Ontario Dementia Strategy Plan was putting its plan together, that we were really the central part of that plan. And that we wanted to help develop, and not just develop, but implement the particular policies that may come out of that, or the plan that may come out of that. And from all that different and exciting conversation, we came up with some guiding principles. And I'm sure you probably have seen these in other maybe documentation or other slides, we've come up with 3 guiding principles. And one is that we are the experts. And you'll say that I offer no qualifier to that. It's simply, we are the experts. The second one is work for us, not without us. And sorry, work for us and not, how did I do that? Work with us and not for us. And the third one is nothing about us without us. And this is really where that key line of partnership relationships come in, which is that nothing about us without us. And you'll see today, and Nancy touched on it just very briefly, it's about technology. I think we're one of the very few groups in Ontario and Canada that uses technology as people with dementia in order to reach out and help people with dementia and help our partners. And we find that transportation is a challenging thing for us. So we looked to this type of technology and found that it was very useful in being able to meet with people literally anywhere in Ontario, Canada, and international. And today is an exciting day for us because this is the first time that we've actually given a presentation via technology, via video conferencing. And then to the second part of this is when we'll work with the group there to help coordinate some discussion points. So we're pretty excited by it, and we think that it's very instrumental in helping to develop some of those partnership relationships. Of course, like any organization, it's all about the people. The people are so instrumental in any organization in developing from a fundamental perspective, in helping it create stakeholders, in helping it create communication plans, et cetera, et cetera. And ODAG is no exception to that. We have 2 pockets of types of people within our organization. We have the board members, and then we have a second group called the members at large. The difference between the 2 is simply the board members are, as usual, more that administration type of people. We probably have more time commitment put into our advocacy work with this particular project. We are the deciders on what types of projects that we wish to participate in, that type of thing. Versus the members at large, which are individuals anywhere in Ontario who has dementia and who would like to participate in, I guess you could say, in helping understand the opportunities that can arise from being a part of ODAG. So we use our partners to help us understand different projects, different research options, etc. And so there's really as much as a time commitment of that person at large really wants to participate in. I want to go back to our board members. So as I mentioned, my name is Mary Beth Whiten, and I'm 49 years old, and I have frontotemporal dementia. But you know what? We all know that we're here because we have dementia. The reason why we want to be here, it's almost outside the dementia. We want to tell you that we can be a great partner to you because of our own skill set. And so each of us today will take a few minutes, and what we're going to really kind of spend our time on is not all our woes and around the dementia, but rather all of our strengths that as a partner we can share with you. So for instance, myself, I started in a young career in the .com business. So I have a very strong background in technology, in IT types of things. So I understand the internet, I understand PowerPoint slides, I understand Excel spreadsheets. And I also traveled around the world as part of my projects. So I have a very good insight into international cultural differences, different perspectives. I've been a lot of project management types of opportunities too, and same thing there, which is international. So I've managed teams from Australia to Brazil to California to Europe, etc. And so a great many people types of skills. So when you look at me and you say, as you're looking through your different projects, what types of partners or what types of people would I hire? I think I'd make a good, I'd make a pretty good hire. And that's depending on the type of project that you want. And so that's what we're trying to do today, is really give you a little bit of a flavor of who we are. So B, I'm going to hand this over to you. And if you can help share some information about yourself and why you're such a great person as a partner.
Thank you, Mary Beth. That's going to be a very I am 62 years old. I was diagnosed when I was 38 with frontotemporal dementia. In my case, it's very atypical because by now I should not be here anymore. But I am very much so. I used to be a nurse, so there's a unique perspective there. Plus, after I was diagnosed, I also lost my marriage, so I am now single. There were a lot of hurdles to cross, but I did. And I am still living single, well, with dementia. I've done a lot of speaking, keynote speakers at different conferences. I'm a peer mentor. My society is the Niagara Society. They have been great. Nancy was fabulous. I was blessed to have her alongside with me at the chapter. She has opened up so many doors for me and taught me that there is so much we can do even though we've been diagnosed. I have also got benign tremors, which has attacked my vocal cords. So I apologize for this grating voice, but it is what it is, and I don't let it stop me. I have a great vision of, in the future, the word dementia will not be a dirty word. There will be no stigma left. Education is the best thing. There's still so much work we have left to do in ODAG, even on the political side. It's very busy. Now, I'd like to bring it over to Phyllis.
Bill?
Thanks, B. Bill, if you can share some of your great experiences in life, that'd be awesome.
Okay, here goes. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. My name obviously is Bill. I will be 75 2 weeks from now. My wife Heather and I will have been married 53 years this coming October. We have 2 children, 3 grandchildren. I spent 38 years in the accounting profession. Due to a series of mergers, demergers, remergers, and more mergers, I think I've been with just about every large international firm there is, finally retiring out of Ernst & Young. For 43 years, I've been the bass player with the Bottom of the Barrel, which is a jazz and Dixieland band. The band is composed of all professional musicians, but we spend most of our time now just playing in seniors' homes and in hospitals. And the average age of this band is just nudging the 80 mark at this point. I'm one of the founding directors of ODAG, as it says. I've been a champion for dementia and a spokesperson for both the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, Ontario, and Thunder Bay. I was one of the members for the planning committee for the 2011 International Changing Melodies Conference held in Toronto. I'm a member of the Alzheimer's Society of Canada Advisory Committee, the Northwest Dementia Working Group, and as Mary Beth indicated, the Ontario Government Long-Term Strategy Planning Group. Also, for the past 10 years, I've been honorary chair of the Alzheimer's Society of Thunder Bay Walk for Memories. My wife and I also own and operate Amethyst Farms, which is a 150-acre farming operation, which, or under which name we have bred, trained, and shown registered quarter horses. And I guess finally, I'd like to mention that I was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's January of 2000, at which time I was given possibly 5 good years, and I'm now into my 17th year. So I would just like to make the comment and hopefully get across to a lot of people that when an individual who has been diagnosed with a form of dementia, it doesn't mean everything's over. I'm living and living well with that diagnosis. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Phyllis, please.
My name is Phyllis Sarah. Hello? Yes, that's better. So my name is Phyllis Sarah. I'm a registered nurse. I worked for 25 years in intensive care. On my days off, I also worked as a sexual assault nurse examiner. When I wasn't busy doing that, I also have a grief and bereavement counseling certificate, so I did that. In my spare time, I am a mother of a blended family, so between my one daughter of my own, I have 2 stepchildren and 6 foster children. I was diagnosed when I was 50 years old with early onset dementia and Lewy body. So I have a dual diagnosis. I have tons of grandkids that I still try and see and babysit as best I can. I don't babysit alone anymore. I don't take somebody with me. Since my diagnosis that I've done is I work with the Hamilton Niagara Hilton Grant and the Dementia Network Link board. I work on the Blue Umbrella Evaluation Program and the Strategy Plan, Canadian Priority Setting Partnership. I sit on the Alzheimer's Society of Ontario Inclusion Task Force. These are just a few of the things I do under the ODAG umbrella. Carry that. Quit moving paper, please.
I didn't quite hear that. Thank you, Phyllis.
Sorry. So when I'm not doing my stuff for ODAG, I volunteer in our local Hamilton office, and I do peer mentoring. I go out, I talk to, I think, every First Steps group there is in Hamilton and Oakville now. If they need a guest speaker for anything, usually every year I go and speak at McMaster University to the nursing students and the resident physician, the residents. And, you know, I believe that, you know, I may have been diagnosed with dementia, but my intelligence is still intact. I may have trouble and difficulty getting my words out, but my brain's still here. And if I can help you guys to make things better, to make things change, that's what I'm here for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phyllis. So we have a number of different partners, and without going into our partnership, because I'm already watching my time here, these are some of our key partnerships. Mindset Center for Living with Dementia. This is our latest one with Laura Bowley. Lisa LaSalle with MAREP. Alzheimer's Society of Ontario, which actually outside Nancy Rushford, we have other people within that we consider to be our partners. Sarah, which is Elaine Worsma, who I think is sitting at the back, hiding. Is that right? Back there somewhere. And Zoom, which is the technology that we're using right now. And we actually got a freebie for it. So, hey, you know, it's all about the partnerships, right? One of the things that is so important about partners, and it doesn't matter if you have dementia or not, it's really about that relationship. And what's key about our particular partners is that they've helped us right from the get-go to become an independent organization. And we found that initially we were relying on our partners, and we weren't really happy with that. And so after much communication and strategy and pulling apart kind of what we wanted, we decided that this is what we wanted, with our partners truly being partners with us versus a more of an adult-child relationship with our partners telling us what we should do. And so when you consider to have people with dementia, think about really what type of a relationship is that? Is that a mutual relationship? And in our case, all of our partners are doing that with us, and we're quite thankful for that. We are involved in more projects than we can handle, and that's not a bad thing. So this is truly just a little splattering. We wanted to make sure that you saw the different types of partnerships. So whether that's educational or technical or outside that. And as you can see here, different types of projects as well. So the Hack for Health event, self-management, the Ontario Dementia Strategy Advisory Group, the Blue Umbrella Program, and the LGBT support group by people with dementia for people with dementia. So that's one of the things that we hope to accomplish with this is that as ODAG gets further and further along in our growth, that the types of projects as well will continue to grow, and that we can help manage the communication so that more people with dementia have that opportunity to participate. Other things that we see that are important is in the area of probably growth around doctors' relationships, and we see also religious organizations. An example of how, I think a great example of how we really have grown in one of our partnerships in particular is that with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care in the Ontario Dementia Strategy Advisory Group project. Initially, people with dementia were not truly part of that plan. And so there was that, I would call tokenism involved in that. There was a few people with dementia, but that was it. After many discussions and conversations back and forth with the project team, they realized that how important and how much people with dementia, and ODAG in particular, brought to the team. And so that kind of tokenism has changed to a really strong relationship now in which the government has more people with dementia at the table. It's starting to use technology like Zoom, which is a great thing because we're able to participate better. It has offered us separate meetings, so just people with dementia or people from ODAG. They mail out material separately to those who find it easier that they have that right in front of them. And from that relationship, from that trust, I truly believe, and ODAG believes, that we will have a much better and a much stronger Ontario Dementia Strategy Plan because of it. So that's just, I think, a real great example of the growth in our partnership. So at the end of the day, you have to ask, what's in it for me? You know, I come from a business background, and one of the things when you look at relationships with people, you always have to bring it back to yourself. And it's not necessarily a selfish act, it's rather a maturity act. I mean, that's just something that you have to do. That's a business world. And this question got me, or not this question, sorry, this quote got me thinking a little bit. So if you only do what you can do, you will never be more than you are. And that's from Kung Fun Panda, I think number 3, if you're a movie watcher. And what this really is meant to do is to get us to think about how much do we really stretch? How much do we really think about those relationships and say, you know what, maybe it is a bit of a risk, but it's a calculated risk, it's a good risk that we should work with people with dementia. And when I come back to the question of what's in it for me, then ODAG and people with dementia, here's a few things for you to think about. For one, it offers credibility to what the Alzheimer's Society says it's going to do. So, you know, on many of the Alzheimer's Society websites, it says, you know, we work with people with dementia, we're here for people with dementia. When you actually sign up and be our partner, then you truly are our partner, and that's what brings you that credibility. People with dementia also, we can identify gaps and the need for new services. So we can tell you what we need and when we need it to help us live well with dementia. And that's very much different than you taking a look at your programs and saying, well, gee, I think we need this, or I think we need that, and do a little study. Talk to people with dementia. Partner with us, and we can help you answer some of those very tough business questions. And the final point, and there's many more, but the Alzheimer's Society is a learning organization. And because it's a learning organization, then opportunities that arise, you can also help facilitate for them to arise. Meaning that if you're reaching out and engaging with people with dementia, then those are things that you can learn from. And any type of learning is a good learning. There's never a bad learning. There may be a bad experience, but it's always good learning.
Call from KNL Enterprise.
Sorry about that. So let me go back here. Briefly, I want to give an example of a new partnership that we're just getting into right now. And I want you to think about, if you were to hire someone for this role, what type of person would you hire? So it has been determined by a person with dementia that they need some help in understanding and going through the many grief stages that a person with dementia will go through. So we've lost our job, we've lost our health, we may lose our family, we may lose friendships, et cetera, et cetera. And the Alzheimer's Society of Brant, Haldimand, Norfolk, Hamilton, Halton has come together with an ODAG member, Phyllis Fair, and talked about this particular gap. And what has resulted from those conversations is a personal, or people with dementia, grief support group. This is going to be the first of its kind that we're aware of. And the target date for that is September 2016. And when you think about Phyllis, so just before, a couple slides ago, she gave you basically her resume. Well, she's a grief counselor. She has that actual certificate. She has 30 years of being a registered nurse, and all of the experiences come with that. And of course, probably the most important thing about Phyllis is that she is living well with dementia. And so she is the great person to help work with people with dementia. And when you think about that from a business perspective, so not only are you working with the people that you want and improving their lives, which is what a goal is, I believe, of the Alzheimer's Society is, but what you can think about this as, Phyllis, is really almost, when you get into those staff shortages, think of people with dementia as almost expanding your staff. The growing number of people with dementia and the financial constraints that are going to continue year after year, these are other ways that you can look to help your organization grow, help it to combat some of those struggles that the Alzheimer's Society's currently and will experience. So at this point, what we want to do is, and this is the first time we've done this, so be gentle with us. What we want to do is facilitate a discussion, and what I'm going to do is hand that over to Phyllis,